I had a discussion this morning with students who couldn't escape the image, and it was interesting to have a discussion about the fact that an image of a painting is not anymore only an image and it becomes something else. The painting is an object, and it reacts differently than the other image that we are surrounded by.
It's attention.
And they had difficulty with what seems to be the subject of the painting.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was interesting that they wouldn't. I mean, they were not. They couldn't see any abstraction in it. I would say.
Okay, and so if we get a little deeper into that, what seems to be the subject or the image, I would say, is female bodies with barely dressed, let's say. And this is something that I think you also received some reactions on previously. Why did you choose this as a, let's call it a potential subject maybe for now? Because I think it's interesting that for you this is only, what you said, it's only 25% of the work, of course. Yet it's also what your audience mainly reacts to, you could say.
Because nevertheless their images or their interpretation of a source material that is a photo of a woman either in swimming costume or lingerie, which are the source images that exist in the society, that are there. I'm taking that material and bring hopefully somewhere else.
Because it's based on images that you found on Instagram.
On Instagram of an account of a swimming costume maker and models, and so indeed it's a certain type of image of women. It's not a communistic representation of the female in society. And indeed there are questions to be made about what type of image that industry or that the fashion industry will produce into. And all those concerns are, for me, totally valid in the society. I mean, it's indeed the use of the image of the women to sell whatever, since the publicity of advertisement has started. It's problematic and need to be answered. What I think is fantastic with painting is that although it doesn't avoid those problems that are attached to that topic. It brings it somewhere else, and so somehow could argue if that is an image, a sexy image, or an image that how this image is made, what strange. If I did that white stain a bit more like that, would it be still appealing, or would it represent? So it's fascinating for me that how an image works, and so I can, as a private citizen, I can talk about those topics. As a painter, they are somehow all the words vanish in the painting. That's why painting is something else. It's not that you can't talk about the specificity of the image or of all the other components, but it's limiting, and it's painting continue to react or to resist to an interpretation that is either anecdotal or sociological or political. I think politics in art is because it exists, the art. It's because it has been made by people who did that instead of something else, not because of what they say. So I was I've been what's it? One of the sorry.
Yeah. So in a way, because what you're saying now is okay. The work actually speaks for itself, but on the other hand, it provokes discussion.
Of course.
So there is
hopefully, and I'm very glad because
okay.
I'm not shying away of any. I'm not saying it's neutral to use those type of images, but we were. I think it was with you when we were discussing that actually, if we decide that it's the body of a woman, if I didn't paint it, the panties there, suddenly it would have been just a big shade of pink, and somehow it's what hides the nudity that suddenly reveal the sexual character of the whole shape, and so that's an interesting contradiction as well. In the sense that it's sexual, it's very sexual, or what did they say? Heteronormé.
Heteronormative, yes.
Heteronormative, which was what a man believe is the image of a pretty woman and convey that image. For me, it would have been a lie, or I just took the material that was existing, that is there, that is, and I didn't try. Now, I have a thin woman. I should now find a large woman, so I'm responding to the possible difficulties that only choosing thin woman would put me into. So it's very strange. So if I did that, I would have been give to the image much more power than it actually really has.
Right.
For me.
And I think it would also be another discussion, because now you are discussing a certain image that is out there in society, I would say, but you're also, because of this seriality and of the fact that you are limiting this choice, I think it also brings us much faster to the discussion of image versus painting, which I would say, or maybe I should ask you, I think for you this is almost more important in a way, in the sense that painting is a large part of the subject in itself of this series, right?
Yeah, for sure. For me, in whatever series I do, is that painting in the end has to take power, and that means that I don't end up with something that I imagine it will be. It always brings me somewhere else, and that what make it alive for me, and what make me continue to be excited doing it. I like when a painting, when an image is not exactly what we thought it was. That to bring the image to a point where it's in crisis, because there I would say that it's the in a world of vanishing images that we are bombarded on, we painter have to do images that gonna stay, that gonna last, that gonna continue to be there tomorrow and 10 years. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm not praying for my painting to have a long. That's what happened with those objects. So. They will answer different questions in a different time.
Yeah.
This time, today, obviously a lot of people are concerned with certain aspects of this.
I think that's really something I wanted to point out as well, because when you talk about art being a lasting object, I think of course that's something that's recognizable as a concept, but on the other hand, I would argue maybe that this series is completely contextualized by today's society and today's urgent subjects and debates that are going on. So let's say if you had made this series 20 years ago, for example, it would have been completely different. And I think maybe we would also look at it differently today. Is this something that occupies you? Or
that happens for every painting. In that we look now at Madonna of Botticelli, we don't see the same thing that the contemporary of Botticelli were looking at. I'm not trying to compare myself at all to Botticelli, but to each painter is that is something that is interesting as well with paint, is that there is a long, because of the tradition, there is a long string of people who are sitting in front of a big canvas and who are putting color paint on it, and each society do it differently, and so it's bound to say different things. I grew up and I learned my craft in Belgium, which is a strange country for painting. In the sense that there is a long tradition. We invented oil paint more or less here, but in contemporary art we are a conceptual country that was very strong in defending the conceptual rupture and for me, when I grew up, when I started painting in the middle of the 80s, somehow painter had to show that they were thinking as well or saying something meaningful, which it took me a while to get rid of this injunction of are you saying something interesting enough so we can look at your painting? And I think what is wonderful with painting is that without saying anything, it says something. The painting itself. If it's good, it says a lot of things. If it's not good, it says less things. But
this, I would say, is again an argument for the image.
The conjunction of all those things make it a meaningful. It says something without you trying to make it say more things. In the sense that, and so that's why I don't try to have a message by using those images, or I don't try to say to have a political stand.
Maybe zoom out a little bit again, or back to the painting aspect maybe. You spoke before about the surprise element, so the fact that you don't really know what will come out of the work.
Yeah, this idea that no matter what you really wanted or what your ambition is, at the end you just did that, and somehow that makes a painting as well. That makes for me, a lot of art that I'm looking at, I can see the failings as well the failings are part of the process. There are some masterpieces, but some other that are less masterpiece from an artist that you really like, and it's okay because somehow I think it's Giacometti who says that about Dorin, that he really likes all his painting because even the bad ones contain the masterpiece in it that has not came out but is still in there. And I really like that idea that sometimes you're lucky. Somehow this way of working make it that I'm still excited to go to the studio because there are new problems to solve.